Oh, yes, absolutely. And the reason I say that so confidently is because we have seen it happen. We have seen it happen in the saints who have lived among us and with us. I'm thinking here of people like Saint Mother Teresa. You know, you have very many stories of people who she took care of when they were dying, when they were picked up from the streets, and just took care of them with that love, you know, the love that Jesus himself would have for them, right? In fact, now I remember, I don't know if we have time for another story.
Proceed, no problem.
So there's this story of a gentleman precisely who was left abandoned in the gutters of Calcutta dying, you know. And Mother Teresa and her daughters there, precisely their vocation was to take care of the poorest of the poor, especially those who are dying, and, you know. So they would take them into their mother house there in Calcutta, and the way I understand they do things, when you bring in one of these dying people or the poor people, etc., a nun is assigned to take care of each of them. Okay, so it's like almost like in hospitals where you have a doctor who's in charge of a very specific patient. So this last gentleman who was taken into the house was in that sense assigned to Mother Teresa. So Mother Teresa was the one taking care of him, you know. The guy was very badly off physically, so of course first, you know, with the medication and things trying to get him, and then finally the man regained consciousness, you know, several days later. Later we learned that the man was not Christian or anything, you know, he was one of these Hindus. But Mother Teresa, when I was taking care of him and feeding him and, you know, cleaning him and all of these kind of things, etc. And eventually, days later, this gentleman asked Mother Teresa, "Look, are you Jesus?" Mother Teresa was a bit surprised. "What do you mean, am I Jesus? I mean, I'm a woman." Jesus is what do you mean? I mean, this guy ascended into heaven years ago. So no, I've heard something about Jesus, and you seem to fit the description, you know, in that manner of speaking, right? Why? Because just simply because of the way she handled the man, the way she took care of the man. You know, it's like, if Jesus was, he would be like this, right? So yes, it is very possible because the saints have done it. And it doesn't just take a saint. You know, sometimes we're like, yeah, but that's a nun who lived, I don't know what, and she had a vocation, etc. I mean, many times we also think about it, the way we ourselves take care of our wives, or we take care of our children, or the way our parents have taken care of us, or even between a boyfriend and a girlfriend. I mean, that love of Christ should shine through. Okay. You know? And that's why we begin training ourselves now for more demanding situations, like in the case of the Samaritan, right? Because in the parable of the Samaritan, maybe we can throw this in there. The problem was the Jews did not get along with the Samaritans.
That is true.
Okay, there was a whole history towards it. The Jews considered them as impure because why? These guys had been in the first deportation, not the one into Babylon, the one where they were taken up to Assyria, I think it was, and they intermarried. Okay, and then they now came back to resettle in Samaria precisely. So they didn't consider these guys as, you guys are not really children of Abraham. You guys have been polluted. You've intermarried, and you know, this kind of thing, etc. So we do not mix with you guys, right? You also remember the story of Jesus at the well and the Samaritan woman who came there, and she asked, how do you, a Jew, ask me, a Samaritan, for water? We don't mix, you know? And we can think about this in our modern day context, even among our different tribes and among our, perhaps you can even stretch it to, you know, Arsenal and Man U supporters. We know we don't mix, etc., right? Yeah. But Jesus was able to say, no. The important thing here is your salvation. The important thing here is your happiness. What does God want for you? Okay. And I will allow God to use me in order to bring you, you know, closer to him. So yes, we can live that love. We need God's grace for it. We need to pray for it, but we also need to play our part.